#idataengineer.
My name is Daniel. Some call me the Data Janitor, and I'm building Pipeline Data Engineering Academy, the world's first data engineering bootcamp. Not one of today's data engineers grew up as a kid imagining becoming one. I definitely didn't. That made me think about how others look at our line of work, and I feel the best way to explain it is through asking a handful of practitioners about their journey and how their work look like. Who are you and what do you do now?
Hi, Daniel. My name is Adrian, and I am a freelancer in data in Berlin. I've been doing this stuff for a few years, and I started freelancing about 3 years back. And right now, I do something that people call data engineering. I call it too, depending on who's listening. If I'm selling data work to a manager, I'm not going to sell them engineering, I'm going to sell them utility. I'm selling engineering to an engineering manager. I'm a data engineer since people started calling me that, actually, is because I've been doing this data work for a few years, and then one day I was doing the same job and it was called different. This is data engineering nowadays. In my understanding and in my practice, it's making sense of data and automating its ingestion, arrangement, possibly even analysis and decisions in order to bring value to the business.
My next question would have been that how did you end up as a data engineer, but you just told me that someone just started to call you that way.
I mean, I got into the field of data, a little bit random, a little bit out of interest. My father was a math professor, so I thought, gosh, I will never study math because you don't want to do that when your father is a professor. I did enjoy it though. However, I also enjoyed more social things like pop science, psychology. I thought, well, where can I apply these things in a way that it matters? I actually studied economics, I studied marketing, I learned about communicating and making a difference in the message, where it matters, kind of. I thought, well, applying mathematics to business and to people psychology might be a good starting point. So I just took an analyst job, didn't know what I was doing. I did what they asked me to for a while. Then I took the next job, I did what they asked me to for a while. And after a while, I started understanding what companies really can get value from, what they need. And I started doing more of that. And fast forward 8 years, I am now consulting.
Thank you. That sounds like a pretty rounded journey. What projects, tools, or trends do excite you these days?
I'm really happy about anything that is bringing us the least maintenance, least amount of bugs, and hopefully good practices that is enforcing good practices. I'm not very much up to the hype right now because in freelancing, you can either chase the hype or you can do something useful. So I'm using kind of tried and true technologies. So I've mostly been using Redshift and BigQuery. I am excited about BigQuery because I hate Redshift maintenance. I've been using more and more cloud native solutions. I find some of them are quite lacking for data, some of them quite elegant for small setups or even big. What actually really gets me excited is not something about data engineering, but it's something about making value out of data engineering. And that is basically developments in consumption culture. So for me, a really big recent development is Metabase, and the fact that Metabase is now also offering their tool as a service. I think this can lead to big progress in how the consumer thinks about data, because this gives them, again, a roll up in a modern interface, and it allows them to do the actual data-driven process where they kind of troubleshoot the process by its dimensions.
Okay. How do you see the role of data engineering changing in the coming years?
It's hard to say how it will change because usually it takes a couple of years for the dust to settle with whatever we're doing now. So we don't know, is the newer technology that we're using now going to work, or is it just another hype? I think things will change mostly towards making the entry barrier lower. So what I have seen since I started was that in order to be able to even maintain a data warehouse, you needed quite a bit of advanced database knowledge just to keep things running. Nowadays, you can use BigQuery or some kind of big data solution that's performance friendly, and you don't really need to worry about that. Also, the way we operationalize our things. So how easy it is now basically to just run a Python function versus the old days kind of before cloud, having to rent server, install everything, So I think basically stuff is getting easier to use because, new professionals don't have the old school masochism.
And are you happy about this?
Personally, yeah, I think it's good. On the other hand, there should be more focus not on just enabling people, but on educating them how to use these tools properly, because the concepts have been lacking in the data culture for a long time, and tools have been letting people do all kinds of crazy things.
What piece of advice would you give to the new ones who are just starting out as a data engineer these days?
Try to look out for things that add value to a company. So this advice, you will hear it from people outside of data too, right? So project management, whatever. And the thing is, the field of data does have a lot of project management involved. I would say it's change management, because the whole point of using data is so you look at something and you act on it. If you don't act on it to make a change, the whole idea of using data is pointless. It's a waste of time and resources. So if you are looking to make a change, then you typically would need somebody that is good at change management, because otherwise having the data professional do it gets kind of painful. So I would advise anybody that goes into data either to get used to doing a lot of change management, or to reconsider if that's really going to be a fulfilling career for them, because the knowledge gap is not going to go away.
That's a very interesting perspective. Thank you. Do you listen to music while working?
I listen to music that I can't hear while working, yeah. So basically, I listen to focus music. Honestly, I just go on Spotify and go for the focus stuff. Sometimes I just find some really chill, bassy music that doesn't have too much going on. Yeah.
Thank you. If you are a data engineer and you feel like sharing your story, reach out. I'd be happy to chat with you.
#idataengineer